Today, we're shining a spotlight on Graham Segroves. And if you don't know Graham yet, you're in for a treat. Graham is an executive coach, a leadership development leader, and someone who's been contributing to this profession for a long time. Graham's path to coaching is anything but straight. He's worked in international affairs, national security, diversity and inclusion, and organizational development, which means when he sits with a leader navigating something complicated, he has genuinely been in those complex spaces. So, for more than a decade now, he's been helping leaders and organizations work through growth, change, and all the messy in between moments that come with both. What I'm most looking forward to in our conversation today is hearing what Graham has learned about leadership, about human development, and about what it means to keep growing as a coach, even after you've reached the highest credential like MCC. Again, we're in for a treat. Graham, welcome, and we are so glad you're here.
Oh my goodness, what a wonderful intro. And I'm laughing because I think you also said I'm anything but straight. That's what I heard. And I think that's true. Oh, you meant my
Ah,
journey. Okay, fine. Yeah, that
yes,
too.
love it, love it, love it. Um, so I would love to start talking about your journey, your coach origin story. Your career has included education, public service, organizational leadership, and coaching. And so looking back, there seems to be that consistent thread of helping people learn and grow. So could you take us back to the
Yeah.
moment when you realized that coaching was for you?
Well, sure. The thread looks consistent in hindsight. Let's be clear. Sir Kenneth Robinson at a conference I was at in 2011, an ICF conference, actually said something like, our resume is the interesting fiction we create to mask the chaos of our actual lives. And I find that true over and over again for me. So, yes, did not hatch out of an egg as a coach at birth. It was 2005 when at the time I was working at the CIA in the Counterterrorism Center, and I was a first-time manager. And as different as the CIA might sound to be from any organization you've known, being a first-time manager is being a first-time manager. And so I got hooked up with a coach for the first time to help me transition my mindset from what I assumed was the job, which was, do everybody's work to the same standard as mine and work 11 hours a day reworking everybody's work and drive everyone crazy. And thankfully, I got off of that with the help of a coach who helped me get a reflection practice and thinking about myself as having started a different career and all those great things. And um, filed that away as a great experience. I worked with that coach for a couple years. He later became a teacher, a mentor, and a friend of mine. His name is Frank Ball, MCC coach, who helped create the Georgetown University coaching program, which is where I went for my coach training 4 years later, I think, five. Um, I had changed roles. I was working in diversity and inclusion inside the CIA, a startup role for part of the agency, and my manager. So we were in the part of HR that was doing the odds and ends. I called it, like we had the mentoring program, the diversity, and we had also leadership development. And my manager said, "Do you want to go get your coach training while you're here?" And I was like, "Sure." Like it hadn't been on my radar. But you say yes sometimes, right? You just like, sure. Oh, a structured reward environment, says the guy who has too many degrees. Like, yay, I'll go do that, sure. And I really expected, Sherlyn, that was gonna be like, yeah, I'll add a little merit badge to my resume, and then, but I'll be going back to managing again here soon after I finish this assignment. It's like a system of 2-year assignments. So I was imagining, oh yeah, in a year and a half, I'll go back and be a manager and I'll be a manager with coaching skills. And what I didn't expect was that program was going to crack me open and like be just uh, transformative is overused these days, but it really was because you get a lot of coaching through a coach training program, as many folks hearing this will know. And you do a lot of coaching as well, but just, oh, it occurred to me for the first time at the end of that program, oh, this is a thing. This is a career path. This is a profession and a vocation, even a calling. And I didn't want to go back, really. I just wanted more of that. And felt like I was facing a binary choice, you know, um, quit and go do this or go back to my work, and realized there, with the help of a coach, that there was a third option, and that was to create a part-time role, find a way to get a part-time role and start a business on the outside. So I would count it since 2011 that I've been coaching professionally. I mean, I was coaching in the program in 2010, and year later had my ACC at 2012 and left the government in 2012 to be in private practice. I mean, there's connections back to my, you can trace that consistent looking thread even further back. I was trained as a foreign language teacher, so developing others was a thing. I've been a coach as
It's in
a
your DNA.
it's in my DNA. So suffice
Yeah,
it to say, yeah.
very good. Well, thank you. The next question is around developing. You talked about supporting other people. And so when you think about developing their craft, like what drew you into supporting other coaches to develop their craft?
Gosh, well, needing to develop my own, firstly, um, I had the benefit. I moved from Washington, D.C. to Seattle, Washington in 2014, and began working as an internal executive coach at the CIA. I'm sorry, at Boeing at that time, and had the tremendous gift of 5 intense years of some high volume coaching. And how that connects to development is that when you're doing a high volume of coaching, you get really efficient at it, but you don't necessarily get better at it. So you get through the mechanics part, you're used to contracting and starting and midpoint and ending an engagement. You get all those things efficient. Um, and I was aware towards the end of that time of like a risk of being efficient at the expense of being better. And I'll say another coach friend of mine pointed out this distinction of more efficient versus better. And they're both important. Like it's important to have muscle memory around what does it look like to start, midpoint, and end a coaching engagement. Um, but um, but it's not enough to develop your artfulness or your depth of skill, mindset, all of those things as a coach. Necessary but insufficient. So I went into a mentor coach training program certificate experience in 2018, I think. And that got me started in the mentor coaching space. And then when I stayed at Boeing but left the full-time coaching role, the mentor coaching, teaching coaching skills, and also assessing for Georgetown and for Invite Change here in Washington State, like those became the work I could do, quote unquote, off the side of my desk from a day job because I was back managing in the DEI function at Boeing for that period of time. So it was a great way to stay connected into coaching while I was doing less of it. I wasn't doing none, but I was doing much less than when I had been a full-time coach. And it just really, there's so many parallels between developing artfulness and capability and mindset as a coach and doing that as a leader. So leadership coaching is my sort of focus of which type of coaching. But leaders are developing capabilities and maturity and ways of thinking about it as well, and artfulness from my first time as a manager to when I eventually left Boeing in 25. Um, Same thing. And yeah, there's parallels to foreign languages, which is also one of my backgrounds. So like developing language fluency also. So like there's that thread.
What still brings you joy or energy when it comes to coaching after all these
Joy
years?
or energy or golly, I mean, well, first of all, every client is a new client and every client is just like the last one. Like both of those are true. Like we're dealing with the same species of creature called a human. So there are some themes. Um, it's I think I mean that's it. Like I think the last year, just as an example for me, is after having been inside of one company for a long time and being back out in private practice, the joy there is around learning what's happening in different corporations, small businesses, nonprofits, all the different clients I'm having, right? Government agencies too. And I'm a learning nerd. The 1980s movie Short Circuit, the robot comes alive from lightning strike and need input. Like that's kind of my thing. Like let me go. Oh, this is how this company works. And so that's a big piece of it. I think though, seeing 15 years into being a coach, seeing the change in how the culture and society in the US at least has made a space for coaching as a thing. And sometimes it's a parodied and misunderstood space for coaching, but um, many of my clients are still having their first coaching experience with me, but many more are not. And the ones who are new to coaching had heard about it before and have some ideas, whereas maybe 15 years ago, people had not heard of it as much and people didn't know what at all to expect, those kinds of things. Um, and right now we're having an overflight of airplanes. So for some reason, that noise is happening.
Roof is getting fixed next door, the airplane, all
It's,
things.
it's not accidental. All of these things, these are the potential distractors that we have in life. They're just reminding us that it's real. No one has a real
Yes.
sound, no one lives in a soundproof booth in their life.
No,
No. I
I
mean,
want that
well,
soundproof
but I mean,
booth.
like, you got to come out of the soundproof booth and live real life. So, anyway,
Yes.
uh, I do have the tendency to turn everything into a philosophical metaphor. So, we'll have to stop with that, Graham. Um, yeah, so developing others is for sure part of it. And um, getting to partner with different people too. So I don't mean clients, I mean, I do a lot of subcontracting where I'm partnering with another coach who has a small business and has a gig that needs multiple coaches, or I'm on a platform, or I'm teaching. So I also do some teaching of leadership development as well as teaching of coaching skills. So two different kinds of teaching. And just the opportunity to um, have project-based teams as an independent practitioner, which was also true when I was internal, but it wasn't the same. I think that there's just a lot more. That's lighting my fire lately. Is I've got a project team for this project and a project team for that one, and a lot of solo work, and that suits me. Yeah,
Yeah. So giving back to the profession is
yeah.
the next question. Our members are saying one of the things that they want is a way to give back in a meaningful way. So what would you say to coaches to guide them to giving back in a meaningful way?
Well, I think there's a lot of paths to that. I think it's part of sort of a philosophy also of growing towards MCC. I don't think this is a hot take or controversial, but I think at MCC coaches ought to be giving back and ought to be proactively figuring out how to do that, not waiting for it to be handed to them, to us. Um, and there's a lot of ways to do that. It could be through teaching directly in an accredited program, but it doesn't have to be. It could be through you know, mentoring, small M, informal mentoring partnership, like connecting with folks who are anywhere else in the coaching journey, which doesn't mean just folks ACC or pre-ACC. It means like any other coach, because we also learn from that. Whenever we're interacting with another coach, we're going to learn. Um, it could mean like coming up with some IP that you publish and like advance the coaching, not so much like that's a double win in a sense, like it helps you, but like, are there models and frameworks and tools that you've found really useful that you created or modified, um, you know, with appropriate, credits and rights and all that taken care of? Like, how are you helping advance what we do? So that's a way to give back is to put it out there. It doesn't have to all be open source. I know people need to earn a living still. So how does that work? But um, there's ways to do that, and that could be formal, informal. Anyway, so that's a way. Um, and I think it's a little bit like what would have helped you whenever you were first starting out, and what would help you right now build that thing. And I said this is about like expectations of an MCC, but my point is any of us can emulate that expectation at any point in our journey. You don't have to wait till you have those three letters to consider yourself ready to give back. And I think I'm talking to someone who's doing that too. So like, being active in the chapter in any way is a give back. And I say that as someone who has pretty much never been active in the chapter.
Yes, that is just now, up until now,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, I know you have your designs on me. Uh, one toe in the water at a time, perhaps. Um, I think part of it too is there's a way of giving back that this one is a little bit more mm, diagonal versus straight on. But I think thoughtful, critical engagement with our professional bodies, whether they're the ICF or the Association for Coaching or EMCC, having a philosophy about what coaching should be and shouldn't be means also discussing that philosophy within the community. And I mean that in the most constructive and respectful ways. Like, I don't mean a tear down. I mean, what's working, what isn't? Gee, has the ICF ever done anything that people found controversial? Do you just sit back and receive that, or do you engage in some way? And not in unhealthy griping, whining, which I have been guilty of. But there right now we're going through a big change to how mentor coaching and assessment are going to work, which I'm excited by. But it's easy for me to be excited by because I kind of somewhat easily meet the new requirements. So I get it that if someone doesn't, it's more controversial. That's a whole nother topic, but like that's a place where, you know, um, engagement every year there will be at least one thing to discuss about how our professional bodies are working. And that may not be your thing, and it doesn't have to be. Like, I'm not saying any of these is a must. I'm like, these are, if you want a buffet table of possible ways to give back, I'm trying to lay out the buffet offerings. And
I love
so,
that.
and please invent another one that I haven't named.
Yes. Thank you. So, community and development. What have you learned about the role of community in a coach's development?
Gosh, well, many ways to define that. And I think multiple communities, some geographic, some like interest area, some language and culture, I would say. Uh, right? So coaching as a contact sport comes to mind. Like yes, with your client, but I would say if you haven't pursued mentor coaching before, you really ought to. Even if you never want to work as a mentor coach too much, even the formation process, like I learned so much from partnering with another coach to review their recorded session and think about how they could approach it differently if they wanted to. You know, the new requirements will also include this lens of, and where does this seem to place you in terms of requirements for PC, ACC, PCC, MCC? But even if it's not for a credential, I have picked up like, oh, that person, for example, setting a coaching session agreement is and will always be for me a challenge. Like I feel like I'm running after the road runner on every one of those, and I'm the coyote. And sometimes it comes together, and there's no anvil that falls on my head. But a lot of times it's like that. Meep meep. Okay, got away from me again. And so I learned so many tricks from other people, or techniques. I mean, like approaches that people use that feel inspiring. Like it's about getting inspiration from other people through community. And so, I mean, I think I just picked a community thing that is a one-on-one, but there are ways to be in like multiple groups And the community of mentor coaches is a continuous learning community that I'm part of. Like not necessarily from each other, but through the work we do and the encouragement to keep doing what we do. Um, so that's an example. Um, I went, I was at ICF Converge in 2017,
Wow.
and then didn't attend for 8 years until last year. And it was really great to be back and sort of immersing myself again in what is this community. Now, I'm an introvert. I'm a chatty introvert, but I'm an introvert. So like I'm not ever going to be the joiner and in the center of all of the hubs of all of this with no, that's overwhelming. I will wave at you, Sherlyn, as you do that. Um, I will send you kisses from afar, and I will go put on my big headphones and sit and read something in the corner. But um, that was great to be reconnected. That conference also had, I think, a first in a long time gathering of MCC coaches, and I was brand new as an MCC. By the way, I still have it here. The ICF sent me this lovely little trinket, a little lapel pin, which I'm
Aw.
sure is blurring on the thing. I'm keeping it wrapped in plastic so that I don't get cocky and think I've earned it. Um,
Aw.
uh, so the new car smell MCC, that was me and at Converge, and someone insisted that I join him. You know, two people actually grabbed me and said, "Come in." So, and I'm sitting in the room with all these people who I've not known. A few I've known actually, and others are former ICF presidents and that sort of thing. And just hearing, oh, like realizing, like, oh, actually, I can like I've thought of these thoughts, some of them too. Like just that
Yeah.
part was great. So it doesn't have to be that one. Like I'm not, I've mixed feelings about the tiered and leveled aspect of the credentials and what that creates in terms of social stratus. Is it great? But people who are really into coaching, you're going to have connection with them, whether you want one at a time like me or you want 100 at a time.
Wow. You have something in common.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the peanut butter plus chocolate, that's the old Reese's peanut butter cup commercial from the 80s, I want to say, but the peanut butter plus the chocolate taste great together kind of idea. Like whatever you're both doing is an amazing snack food, put it together and like come up with like there's so many like creative like projects that come out of it or ideas that come out of it. And that's exciting
Yeah.
for me too.
Yeah. That's where we met.
Yeah.
Yes. So looking ahead at the coaching profession and how it's evolving because of the world, what do you see for the future of coaching?
Well, so I'm having I sort of thought of this in advance because like, ooh, where really what do I think pay attention to? I think there's I'll say like three big topics for me. One, and they're all about something on a developmental journey or a maturity spectrum and where are we going? And I already sort of mentioned the coaching profession itself, but like we coaching is becoming more mature. If you compare engineering to coaching, engineering is a thousands of years old profession. Coaching as a profession, 50 years, maybe. So we're babies. Like we're pretending like we're adults and we're serious and stuff, but we're babies. And it's okay. We're right where we need to be in diapers. It's fine. Maybe we've got pull-ups now, but it's fine. Like we're proud of them. We're proud of our pull-ups. And this is not meant to like denigrate anything anyone's doing, right? Like we're all in the right place, but we've gone from diapers to pull-ups, and that's okay. Good for you. Can you toddle across the room? Go look at that. First steps. So, so it says the non-parent. So, um, we're gonna continue to do those endearing and blundering things as a profession until we move into adolescence, which will be messy. Maybe we're there. Maybe we're at adolescence. I don't know. And here's what I mean by that. I'm in metaphor land. What's concrete land? Evolving sense of standards. Um, towards more and more rigor, towards coaching becoming more like nursing or psychology and requiring more and more capital F formation and capital D dollars, probably, um, and rigor around the credentialing and rigor around like it's a trend towards that. We've seen the last 10 years has been a proliferation, a big boom in the number of providers of coaching ed and a distribution of the responsibility to self-police and to, meet standards of ethics and otherwise, ethics and skill. And I think we're going through a little bit of a tilt back towards more centralized rigor. Um, and I don't know that's a bad thing, um, but it has an impact. So that's the coaching profession, particularly under the ICF. But I think the thing that all outside of the ICF frame, um, coaching is not regulated generally as a service, and in terms of government regulation. So I think that's going to continue to be a live question. I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes regulated somewhere in the world soon because of its proliferation and because of the impact we do have. And when you have impact, you don't only have positive impact, you could also have negative impact. So we have to take responsibility for that somehow. All right. So there's that one. Um, Spoiler alert, number three is going to be AI, but number two is I'm going to say coaching platforms, but really more important than that is like the delivery, how coaching is delivered. And platforms are a little bit like the Ubering of coaching in a way. Like instead of each of us owning our own little taxi, we do a lot of subcontracting. It's just the norm in the coaching field to do subcon. It already was to do ad hoc partnerships and joining so and so's network. And back when I got started, like it was an oddly, I'm going to say incestuous, like pool of like networks of people who would, I'm going to be the prime on this bid. Will you join my network? Yes. And then I'm going to be the prime on that's what would happen. And so the rise of the technological sort of support for a platform and the maturing desire for coaching services in a corporate space in particular, which comes along with a desire for a more homogenized product of coaching. Yes, it's great that you all are unique snowflakes, but we need some snow to be the same. Can you please just deliver some snow? Uh, the skier doesn't need individual snowflakes to be unique. The skier needs a great course. So um, I think that trend is going to stay. And I don't know if it will ever go to a employment versus subcontract place. I kind of wish it would, because I think that so much comes from the mindset of employer or co-owner of the future of an organization that's different from the renter mentality that can sometimes, and that's overly negative on the renter side. I've been both. But like, um, not only is it better for the individual coach in terms of livelihood, but the I think the companies will get more out of it anyway. But we're in a space where platforms have proliferated. I can think of at least six or seven, and um, you know, the ones that distinguish themselves are the ones that don't race to the bottom on the rate paid to the coach, and the ones that give back in terms of development support. Maybe they give you a coach supervisor, that kind of thing. So I think platforms and the structure of coaching, that's changing. And I think it's going in the direction of a greater amount of consolidation there because of the benefits of being connected together in a large group for for technology platforms. I work with one that has, a really good AI agent that joins the call when the client agrees to it, et cetera, right? All very ethical, and provides an amazing summary at the end, automatically pumped into our message chat that, you know, like there's things that I would never have built that myself. I know people would tell me you can now, Graham. I know that, but I don't want to. Yeah. So there's that. And that connected to AI. And how do humans distinguish themselves from AI? That's a whole chat conversation. And I'm not worried for human coaches, but it will be different.
Love to hear your answer to that question. As AI is changing things for the way that coaching is delivered, what
Hmm.
is going to remain human?
Yeah. Um, well, I think this is a really great advance, honestly, for us as a profession to have to answer this question. If you never had to answer this question, we would just coast along. So I kind of am glad we're being asked this question. First of all, without anyone changing anything, there will always be individual human clients who do not want to work with an AI coach of any sort, or so they think. And so there will always be a market. And I also think in general, we're nowhere near the saturation point for the market. Of I think we're growing it because it's becoming more familiar. People are now, it's a little bit like psychology, psychiatry, those things. When my dad's generation were growing up, no one would talk about going to a therapist. And now that's really common and people seek it out. It's part of your insurance now in the US, right? Like that kind of thing. Same thing for coaching, I suspect. But um, here's the thing. As an experienced coach, I'm now very grateful for AI tools because I can use them myself for my business, but also I can incorporate them into my coaching. Whenever a client, for example, and I've had this in the last year, people ask me, "Hey, what should I do about blah, blah, blah?" Or I've got these dynamics going on in my team. What are my like whenever they are tempted to go into the expert advice seeking mode with the coach with me, which is not the mode I want to be in. And I can say, what has Claude told you about that? Or that Gemini. I hear Gemini's are great at that, or whatever. And as a starting point, not like don't disempower yourself by trusting the AI fully, just like don't disempower yourself by trusting me. So the critical thinking piece and it's just I think of it in many ways. I'm simplifying here, but like before Google, what did coaches do? I mean, what's a great way to think about grieving? Did you Google that? Like, I mean, I can tell you my own ways, but Kubler-Ross model is available on Wikipedia and has been. Like, go find it, and then let's talk about where are you in it and what makes sense about it, and like go richer with that. So what I feel like the AI is going to do and of course nobody, I'm not here to confidently say I know what's happening with AI in the next year, but where things are at today is that there is a greater self-help baseline for ourselves as coaches and also for our clients to first of all, many more people can access that baseline than could access it before because the tools are there. And people who are looking for a form of help that they call coaching can go to that. It may not be ICF coaching, and does that matter? I don't know. Like there are I care that someone learns and grows and gets a happier, healthier life that's sustaining for the world. I don't care that they hire me for the coach role. And that's easy to say because my business is working fine, and well, it's easy for you to say, and I'm an MCC. I get it. I'm in that space. Like, if I were starting out today, it would be more challenging to differentiate, um, um, or so I would think. But I think it is how are you the human companion to the AI? Like the word companion has co in it. So is AI the companion to the human coach or human the companion to the AI? Um, Clients may believe, and we've seen this already in businesses, right, that have gone all in on the AI adoption and laid off thousands of people and then are going like, oh, we're not seeing all the gains we thought. So like the initial excitement of a user who gets some helpful interaction, dialogue, like uh, The AI tools are giving us a dialogic process to think through things, and that's good. If you are actively thinking, that's good. If you're outsourcing the thinking, I would say not helpful. But if you're using a coach partner to ask you questions, great. And at some point, you need a partner to think about that interaction. What are you getting out of the coaching with the AI, the use of the AI? What's what's falling short? What's frustrating? And then where, how does that relate to your real life? What do you, so I feel like until the tools get much, much better and or the ability to, like, I'm going to use Claude is going to be my coach about how I'm using ChatGPT or whatever. Like you go to two of them. I think people are going to always have some gravity towards the human connection. And so we have to be coaches who are humans first and not blank slate. That's the thing. An AI is a blank slate, like the old school methodology around psychology and counseling, right? Don't reveal yourself to the client because that's an interference with the client's or the patient's work, right? I think that aspect of coaching needs to be more in focus, even earlier in the coach training and development. I don't know about yours, but my initial coach training felt a lot like, can you wipe your slate clean and be somewhat blank for this client and like be less of you for a while? And that was my interpretation back then. And I don't know that that was intended. And the odd thing about the level 3 program and moving towards MCC was now add yourself back in, be yourself again. It's like, okay, maybe we need to not do that take yourself out piece or be a more nuanced with how we address that. So I think a generation of coach training programs have been built on turning people in learners into being question machine guns. And um, there's more to it. There's got to be the relationship, the relational field that two humans can create is a long way away from being replicated with AI for most users. There are those who have fallen in love with their chatbot, but I think there are many, many others who are not.
Yes, that helps. That gives me optimism as well.
Well, I mean, yeah. So first, you got to be in touch. But I mean, optimism, and it doesn't mean the work is easier. You got to be able to see and hold yourself while being a coach,
Uh,
and you got to do some work for that.
yeah, yeah. Great. This is our rapid round.
Okay.
And so I'm going to ask you 7 questions and go as quickly or as slowly as
Do
you
I have
want.
like 15 seconds for each one to respond? Is there a
I
buzzer?
don't,
You
there's
need a
no
buzzer.
rules. I have a buzzer downstairs. I bought a buzzer. I was like, oh, I'm going to use this buzzer during our board meeting. I haven't used it yet. Is there a personal philosophy, phrase, value that guides your work as a coach?
Yeah. I would personally, my own personal is adventure is the value. For coaching in particular, the value is courage.
What's the story behind it?
Um, I mean, adventure has just been a lifelong thread. I mean, I studied the world and its languages and how it works and wanted to be out in it. Um, and the learning piece is part of that adventure. The courage part, back when I was at the CIA, we had some of us had a conversation about establishing, the CIA did not at the time have a set of operational like values. And there was a lot of attempts to make cutesy things out of the letters C, I, and A. And for a while, one of them was meant to be courage. And just I find that it's a beautiful value because it is different for each person and ought to look different for each of us. Sometimes the courage is in, so there's diversity in it, which I love. So like sometimes courage is speaking up and sometimes courage is hushing. Sometimes it's about um, persisting, and sometimes it's in letting go. Um, Sometimes it's about looking into the emotional domain, and sometimes it's about confronting something in the logical. So it's just I find it's it it's the Swiss Army knife of values.
Very good. And your favorite coaching book you recommend most?
Oh golly. I am right now reading Systemic Coaching by Peter Hawkins and Eve. I can't remember her last name. That's bad. It's in my bag. Um,
Turner,
thank
Eve
you.
Turner.
Thank you. Thank you for catching me on that one. Um, look, yes, I have that very one. Yes, that's it. Um, I have been a systems focused person for a long, long time, and I think like long ago I read some of the coaching supervision, the seven-eyed model, those kinds of things that are out there. And I think all coaches would do well to read to become at least aware that there is a thing called systemic coaching and to think about the systems because it's to me it's once you've thought of it, you can't not see it and think of it. So I haven't finished it, and it's one of my favorites.
Who is a coach, a leader, or a thinker that you admire?
Um, Susanna Cook-Greuter's coming to mind. She is a researcher now, I will say semi-retired, not retired. I've never met her, but she was instrumental in bringing the field of developmental psychology into the world of leadership and also uh, coaching. So thinking about how we grow, continue to grow and develop and mature as humans well past legal adulthood. It's not about biological 18 or 21, but what continues to happen in our lives. And this idea of almost like a spiral shell that keeps growing, that's us. We keep our old self, but we add new layers to ourselves. And it has been something I was introduced to in my Georgetown program 15 years ago, and it's behind the scenes of everything that I think about most days now. I don't always put it on the stage with the client, but it's an awareness I bring. And so, um, just that she had some of the foundational work around creating a tool to help assess for that for developmental stage, but also understanding that process and um, so I think she would probably say she's one of many in the field at that same place and time, and some are still in the field who are doing that work. But I sort of credit her with sparking for me that interest.
I'm going to look that up. Favorite coaching question?
Hmm. I mean, I don't like having a canned one anyway, ever. So like it's maybe not favorite, but one that's coming up more and more for me now is the reminder because it's a reminder to myself to do this in the coaching sessions like something along the lines of what's anything you've heard yourself say in the last 15 minutes that seems particularly important or new to you.
Good question. A mistake new coaches often make.
Checklisting the agreement steps and using canned questions for those, and what is your topic, and what is your goal, and what do you want to get out of, and how will you know you got it, and why is it important to you? Okay, now we can do the coaching. No, all of that was supposed to be the coaching.
Mm.
And so if you're opening up a fresh can of agreement questions, put that sucker away and make it from scratch. The same thing at the end. And what are you going to do next? And what is any accountability support you need? And what, no, no, stop that.
Yeah. One habit that makes you a better coach.
Reflection. You got to pause. I do, at least. I think we all do. It can be a pre-flexion to be ready for this session. It can be a post reflection. It can be a periodic lift up on your own to reflect. It can be a coach supervision supported or mentor coach supported reflection. But that is the brushing and flossing of also getting to enjoy the meal.
One piece of advice for someone who is just starting out on their journey?
Hmm. Plan for the long haul. I imagine you are on literally a journey that is a decade or more. So it's a marathon, not a sprint. And it's you've got choices to make along the way of what direction to go. It won't all come easy at first or natural at first. And if it starts feeling easy or natural, you probably need to disrupt yourself and take a new class or something. Um, so yeah, plan for the long haul.
Finish this sentence. Coaching is powerful because.
Coaching is one of the only times when most of our clients get listened to really deeply and truly. Maybe they're lucky and they have a partner, a spouse, a close friend who does this, a family member. But it's really intimate and sacred for this reason. And um, I think we have to recognize that sacredness and bring that kind of respect and awe to the process without being overly precious or necessarily um, rarefied about that. But that's why it's the listening. If you took the listening out of coaching, the other things would be consulting and some other things. So it's to me the most important. So are you really listening to your client? And how do you know you're listening? And that's my question to me.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had so much fun. So
Yay.
I'm gonna wrap it up and start closing it down. So my very last question for you is when people look you up or think about I'm looking for, what that people look for when they want to experience you?
For a good time, call Graham. Um,
My God.
I resemble that remark. So Siri, I do actually say to people, in my materials, I'm like, if you are not wanting to enjoy the coaching experience, by all means choose someone else. But we're gonna have fun together. It's serious play. There's Lego serious play out there as a thing, and even without the Lego part and the trademark, like this is humor and it is part of the creative process. It activates things so it's not about telling jokes. I've been telling jokes a little bit in this recording, but it's uh it is that blend of, again, the sacred and the funny. Like, how do we not take ourselves too seriously while also taking things seriously? So that's a philosophical thing that people would look me up for. That no one has come to me because they're looking for a fun coach, though. I will tell you that doesn't sell you on marketing. And hopefully people experience that in my intro conversation, right? But the the distinction, I think it comes back to I have a really weird background of oddball collection of experiences, but I'm not the only coach who does. I think for me the thing people come to me for or ought to is the comfort with complexity and ambiguity. And when I say complexity, I mean, I'm usually working with people who have some immediate things that are burning and on fire they got to fix. They've got some medium term, they've got some things in the task domain, the relationship domain, they've got a board of directors to deal with while also launching a new strategy and making sure a leadership team works well together and quits pulling hair and you know so it's all of that, like, that bring it all together. I had a client this week who it was his first full session with me, and he had come with a list of little things he wanted to talk about. But we quickly got into the fact that this was about his identity, and he's like, "I didn't expect this to be so hard." I was like, "Is that a good thing?" He's like, "No, I'm just realizing it's got to be hard." Like, well, yeah.
Breakthrough. Very good. And how can people find you?
I am on LinkedIn. I have my website, grahamsegroves.com, points to my LinkedIn. That's the best place to go. I'm not super, super duper social, so I'm not on the gram or the book or the whatever they're called, you kids these days. And yeah, hopefully you'll find me talking more with Sherlyn.
Yay! This has been amazing. Thank you for saying yes to doing
Yeah.
this.